It's time to disc the cornfields that we mowed. So the last video we mowed the cornfields. Now we have the disc hooked up. We're gonna run and disc these fields and hope that it doesn't go too bad and that it chops it up pretty good. This stuff should chop up easier than grass, I would think. Grass is more of like stringy and stuff like that, so we'll see what happens with it, but hopefully it goes pretty smooth and then we can get weed in the ground here pretty quick. So we'll start on this small little patch field here, see how this goes. And this wasn't very thick when we mowed it, so this should go pretty smooth, but we'll find out here very shortly. Not aggressive at all. So I need to change those. I didn't notice that before. Let's try that again, now that we changed the gangs. Oh, yes. Now we're not really in thick trash either, but I know the drill would catch all that. I know it would. I must say, for only the first pass going over that's doing a pretty good job. Doing a horrible job. This disc just isn't the heaviest probably, which is why it's not really chopping the stalks up the best. It's just kind of flipping them over. But it is working. The best thing would have been if we would have had a no-till drill. That would have been ideal. Maybe someday. As long as we can get the stuff chopped up really good, like kind of like it's doing right there, to where the seed drill won't catch all the junk, we'll be in good shape. I adjusted the disc a little bit to have it on the back. The back was a little high. That seems to be doing a lot better job now. This is getting pretty nice, actually. And again, this field didn't have near the trash as, for instance, the Big Creek field. That's gonna probably not go as good. It's definitely doing a pretty good job. Now on to the second field. This field's probably gonna be very similar to the Big Creek field. A lot more trash here. Doesn't look like we did much down there, but we went over it one time. And we'll continue probably working on the rest tomorrow and go over everything. We're at it for day 2, running the disc. I did change one of the settings, made it more aggressive in the back. The front, I cannot go another hole to move it, which is really dumb for some reason. I guess that hole's just there to be there. I don't know, because it won't let you put it in that setting. So at least we got the back section in the most aggressive setting possible. So hopefully that helps a little bit, because we're running really late at getting our wheat in the ground. We're probably going to run into issues maybe come harvest with yield, maybe because, I don't know, vernalization and tillers and stuff with the wheat. I don't know. We're going to have to up our population, I know that. So instead of doing like 120, 125 pounds an acre, probably going to have to up that to anywhere from 135, 140 pounds an acre, somewhere in that vicinity, just to get a little bit more seed in the ground. So I need to get done disking today. They want in the 60s like all this week, maybe 50s, and that should give it a jump start, hopefully, to get going before it gets super cold. And we have Mr. Grayson in the tractor with us here. Hi. So he's riding along, and we're gonna hopefully get some prepped fields to where we can drill some seed today. This field's gonna be probably ready to plant today, I would imagine. It's doing a pretty good job here. I'm gonna say for the most part, this field's pretty much ready to go. Other than the big mounds, which is what happens with the disc when you have it in the aggressive setting, it throws all the dirt to the edge. So we could come back through, and we probably will once we have the rest of the fields ready to go. We'll put that back disc a lot less aggressive so it kind of levels out, and then we should be ready to plant. So this field I think is going to be ready to go. We'll do one more pass over it once we change the disc setting. So at this point we're going to roll to the next 2 fields. The one field that I thought about this overnight, and the field where we didn't pick all the corn because of it being on that hill, I think that I'm going to save for absolute last. So if we have time to get to that, we can, but it's really not that big of an acreage area to even do anything with. So especially since it usually is about an acre, but since we didn't harvest that corn and we have that still there, and we wouldn't plant on the hill anyway, we're probably looking at maybe half an acre. It's under 3/4, whereas, and this field too small, but whereas the other 2 fields are probably pushing. This field here that we're going to next is probably 2 acres, and the field down below at the big creek is actually over 2 acres, so that's probably 2.5, maybe a little over that. So my biggest goal is to get those planted before worrying about that little tiny one. There's definitely a lot of trash. Just don't know. We're gonna have to go over this numerous times. Just don't know how well it's gonna turn out, that if we're gonna be able to get some seed in the ground. Because it's not looking good so far. Oh, look what I did. Didn't spill any of them. Now we're gonna head to the Big Creek field. This is the one I'm worried about. This field is also risky to try and even plant in because of the fact that if we do get floods or a lot of rain in the spring, that field will flood. And that could be a problem for wheat. So it's definitely risky no matter what you put down here, as we found out with Hurricane Debbie that flooded all of our pumpkins. So just kind of the risk we take. This portion that's basically just grass will probably till up really nice, because this is where we had the pumpkins and then the flood and killed, and yeah. So we just basically mowed this off twice. The corn portion is what's gonna probably suck. So I might try and do this diagonally. doing a real good job there. Not much trash. But that is all about to change. Really nice so far right here. You get out to where the corn starts and it doesn't even really look like it did anything. Probably the best thing that we could have done was probably plow all this up, but I figured disking would eventually make it nice, but I think we're just gonna have to go over it quite a few times. This is the progress so far. Not so good. A lot of trash. What I really should have done is plowed this, flipped everything over, and then disked it, and then we'd have been good and ready to go. This section, however, is looking amazing. We could plant this right now. And I could, but the more rounds that I was making in the tractor, the more I was thinking, and the more that I came across the idea, and I was talking to my seed guy a little bit, but the more I was thinking, we are late with planting wheat anyhow. It is November 16th. Now again, warmer temperatures than I feel like typically we have. So we still could get it in the ground, obviously a higher rate, but we run the risk of our yields maybe not holding out as well, number one. Number two, we do not have a good seed bed at this point. That's very evident. So we'll spend all day doing this, and maybe even plus some, just to get this to where we could plant it. And they only want it like 60s and upper 50s the next like maybe 5 days to a week, maybe a week and a half, and then after that it starts dropping to the 40s, which is still probably okay. It would be germinated by then, but there's no chance we're gonna get this all planted today. There's just no way. So what I'm leaning towards is, now that we do have these fields semi-tilled up, you could call it, you know, more or less fall tillage. We chopped up a lot of the stalks, the stovers, all that with the corn, so that will rot down and compost back into the soil, should put all the nutrients back into the soil. And we could potentially come in here next year in the spring. We could do corn again. We could do corn on corn in here, That's always an option. I do have some corn seed left over, so we could do that. But regardless, the decision I think I made is we're gonna hold off. We're not gonna put any more wheat seed in the ground, as much as I would love to get more in. And we could plant this right here, and we could plant that first little small field we did too. But they're little patches, so I'd say we just let everything kind of the way it is, and we'll just fall till it, and that's what we'll call it. And we'll wait till next fall. We'll try and store the seed, keep the seed, and then we'll put it in, because ultimately I'm gonna have to do a higher rate to accommodate for the late planting, and the plants might not even do as well. Yield might hurt, so it might be in my best interest to just hold off till next fall. Hopefully, if we can store the seed properly, we won't have really a germ issue or a germination percentage drop or anything. So that's where I'm at. It kind of sucks, but it's all part of the process. It is what it is, and I think it's honestly our best choice to make. So I think I'm done disking then, with that being said, because really there's no point in me making this perfect. This will rot down over the winter and everything. Then we can come in here, and if we are going to do corn in the spring, then we just disc it then, and it should do a lot better. The trash should have time to rot down. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Wasn't quite the turnout we were hoping, but that's farming. As always, I hope you have a great day. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you next time.